Good afternoon, Michael Wynn, Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. Thanks for joining in today on the Digital Marketing Podcast and Video Series, where we talk about digital marketing strategies and tactics to help grow your business. Super excited today to have as a guest on the show, Kasey Diehl, Director of Marketing of the new, recently acquired, 1 year later, Ajax Building Company. Kasey, thank you so much for joining the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so today's episode, I'm going to give it a title of Smashing the Status Quo and Blasting Through the Roof in a Company Merger. As you were kind of sharing with me, the merger that you guys have gone through that really took place and was initiated last October. We have the advantage now of looking back over the last 12 months of what a growth transition looks like, because Ajax was, obviously a company based in Tallahassee, Florida, and you guys had expanded into other areas. You had been with the company for, at that time, a little over 9 years. Now you're 10 years into it. Share with us, during the growth transition, 1 year later, looking back, what have you learned?
Change is difficult for everyone. And at first it was extremely scary, but meeting the people with structure tone and just getting to know everyone and getting to know their culture, it's been great. The resources have just maximized us being able to do our jobs and really just to brand the company in new levels. Structure Tone has been around for a long time, and their culture is very family oriented, which is a lot. It's how Ajax was, or is. It's very family oriented. You've got a lot of employees that have a lot of longevity, and I think the average tenure is 16 years, and you find that not a lot of companies have that just mentality, culture ingrained in them, and these two companies have merged together that do have that same type of culture and identity, and again, any change is scary at first, but it's been great. The resources have just really been amazing.
Yeah, it's funny as you tell the story of this occurrence, this really very quick injection of resources and new ideas that that you're being introduced, while it really disrupted me. If you think about it, if you had been sitting there and for folks that are listening in to or watching the show today, maybe you've been with your company or your business for 5, 6, 8, 9 years. You've been doing business the way you've been doing things. You've been preparing your proposals the same way. You've really kind of gotten into a comfort zone. And so, Kasey, what you're describing to me, and I think would, really be fascinating for us to dive more into is, yeah, you guys were growing, you were expanding, but at the same time, there was still sort of this status quo of this is the way we do things. And now all of a sudden that's been changed for the better. But nevertheless, like you said, change happens. And sometimes we're scared. We're scared about what that looks like, what that feels like. That there's I like to say we're cooking with ingredients that we don't have in our own minds. It's like we're creating scenarios and playing them out in our heads, and they're actually nowhere near what the actual reality of the situation is. So yeah, I guess what were some of the challenges, do you think, that you found just personally, when you go from you and your team to you, your team, and then this group of other people? What did you learn about yourself, or something that you could share?
Well, so when the merger was announced, I didn't take it very well because I was job scared. They said merger with this bigger company, and the first thing that hit my head was I'm losing my job. Luckily, that wasn't the case, and I actually was able to bring on more people to our team so that we could produce more. The VP of marketing came down and from New York and met with us and just kind of introduced us and introduced to the entire marketing team virtually and just explained how things work. There haven't been per se challenges. It's just been more of learning. It's been, now you don't have, just one or two people to communicate things with. You have more. You have a large amount more. But what that has looked like is it's more of sharing ideas and sharing your resources and sharing your best practices and growing personally, professionally, just mentally. You're able to learn from everyone. I'm the type of person that I am constantly trying to advance what the department does and make things better. I'm always it's not that we did something wrong, but let's learn from our mistakes. Let's make it better. Let's grow. Let's see how we can make our proposals look better. Let's see how, what we could have done to land that job or to, just catch somebody's eye or, it's that kind of thing. And with this larger company and having what the resources are, that I'm getting to see what other people are doing. And it's not that Ajax was doing anything wrong. We were doing a lot right. And that was appealing to structure tone. It's that now we get to do more and we get to advance that and kind of do it on a wider scale.
Yeah. So in the 10 years that you've been with them, like I said, you guys based in Tallahassee, Florida, but you expanded to where, and then how does that compare to the new company, and where are some of the locations that they serve?
Sure. So Ajax has been around since 1958. We currently have 12 offices within 3 states. We started branching out in Florida, for a long period of time, and then around 2009, we expanded into Georgia. Shortly after, we moved into South Carolina and West Carolina. While Structure Tone is global, there are offices all throughout the United States. They're headquartered in New York, but they also have offices in Boston and Philadelphia and Texas. They have offices in London and Ireland. So they're definitely they're global, and they just merged with another company that is in California. So it's definitely big.
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting what you said about the fear that you had, the fear of losing your job. And I bet there's probably someone that's going to watch this video or someone that's going to listen to this this podcast, and they're going to think about Well, my job is secure. I don't have any, there's nothing threatening my job. And, I'm fully, immersed and capable of, continuing on for the next 5, 10 years in the position that I'm in. And I think that when you're thinking about a growth shift or like you said, you were always looking to advance and do things, but I don't think we can really put into perspective the momentum of when things of an outside force, propel you into a change that you did not initiate yourself, and so if anything, I think taking away, just even myself, I'm thinking, what if I worked like today was my last day, and I really put forth the effort to, figure out the best and take time and dive deeper into and think about, hey, can we make this proposal look better? Or, can we, take the client work to the next level, and what are all of those things? Now, the other thing that you just mentioned, which I think is really interesting, and you said that you've gotten these additional resources, and it sounds like to me that, with offices that are, obviously you guys have been doing mostly work in the Southeast US, and now you're part of this, sort of company network and ecosystem that has projects throughout the United States and abroad. And now you're getting to see some of their resources, whether it's proposals or resumes or what have you, but in a very contextual way. Can you speak about what that experience has been like?
So it's really been eye-opening. It's and inspiring. I am always trying to push us and our look, not necessarily our brand. I'm really big on that brand has to stay consistent, but I'm always trying to kind of give it a little bit of a facelift. And now that I do have these peers that have, some of them have been in the industry for 20 years, or some of them 10 years. Some of them are fresh out of college. But what's happening is that we're all sharing either what we've done right or what we've done wrong, and it's inspiring everyone, including ourselves and myself, into making everything look better. I mean, what I find is that nothing stays the same. There's always new trends, whether it's fashion, construction, architectural, graphics. There are always new trends, and I always want to stay up with the trends. And so they make a running joke around here is that I'll redesign our proposals or presentations, and I love it, it's great, but it doesn't matter because I'll change it in 6 months. And while yes, that may be true sometimes, but it's a matter of always trying to push us to the next level, and we can always do better. And you mentioned how, getting to where you feel comfortable in your job, and that, you don't think it'll ever change for you, or that it'll never happen. I've never really had that mentality. I always have, no matter what I'm doing, I give more than 100%. I give my all every single day, and I hold myself at a very high standard, just like my work. My work ethic is very high, my work quality is very high, my team's work quality and ethic is very high. So it doesn't matter if you've been with your company for 10 years, for 3 years, for 20 years, you can't ever fall in that space or that area where you can't ever be replaced, because I don't think that that's healthy for anyone. You always need to give your all. But with that being said, again, the resources allowed everyone, not just us at Ajax, but all the other companies and all the other business units to share and to grow their quality of their products that they're producing.
So not without divulging trade secrets or anything of that nature, but are there any enterprise level tools, whether it's client follow up or I imagine if you go from your office with 12 locations that you had versus now you've got the access to all these other resources, like have you guys found, like, are you sharing things on Slack or Dropbox or Google Drive? Like, are there any technology pieces that you've come across that you've found, helpful, or are you still kind of using the same things? And what are those that you use that you find the most helpful?
So of course I use Dropbox, and share files. We, just like with every other creative department, we of course use Adobe Creative Cloud. And then, there's some other different software out there that we use. I don't know if I can share that because I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool, yeah.
We're just, it's pretty much the same. And there's nothing, cutting edge that, we're using. It's pretty much what everyone else is using.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's talk about the future. What does the future look like for Ajax Building Company and Kasey Diehl?
Well, Ajax is growing. We've got plans to grow, into other states, in more offices. And, with that, we'll hopefully growing my team. Right now, I've got a team of 4 individuals, including myself, Courtney, who is my social media guru. She's amazing. She is just she's taken our social media presence to the next level, and I definitely could not do my job without my team. Molly joined us at the beginning of this year, and Veronica joined us in December. It'll be a year, and they have grown rapidly. They are my rock. They are my right and left hand, and it's been an amazing year. We have had a phenomenal year, and just since since Molly and Veronica are still new, the future is it's really I'm trying to think of the right word. It's exciting. I get to watch them grow, and of course, being a mom, and not only the 2 little boys, but I'm also the mom of the department. It's a proud moment for me when they did their first proposals, and they were fully functioning on their own. I was very proud, and it was like, oh, the little birds with all this stuff in them. So the future for them is exciting for me. But then the future for the company and getting to, grow just geographically, and not only that, but, get to, these potential buildings we might get to, build in the future, whether it be locally where I get to actually see it, or, down in the Keys, or, in South Carolina, or just wherever. It's fun. It's pretty interesting. So we're excited. There's a lot of hard work that is ahead of us, and we know that, and we're fully prepared, and we're always planning for the future. But we're excited.
I love it, Kasey. Well, again, I want to just thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and your exciting work that you're doing at Ajax Building Company. And again, I think the personal story that you've shared, the growth story that you've shared as you went through this transition, literally smashing the status quo and blasting through the roof in a company merger. Thanks again for being on the show, Kasey. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I wish you the best with your podcast. I can't wait to hear some of your future ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. My name is Michael Wynn. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. Hope you guys have a great weekend and tune in next week for our next episode.